Alright guys, welcome to the channel. Building this d16z6, a buddy of mine thought, hey, it'd be a good idea to make some videos about it. So y'all can hang in there and watch if you want. If you got any questions, it might help you out. I'm no professional by any means, so if there's something I do wrong, let me know, help me out, whatever. But kind of a budget build, turbo boosted build on the Z6. I got the car and it was blown up. Went and got a junkyard motor and put in it to drive it. So I decided to rebuild the other one. And yeah, it's kind of budget, but kind of, I don't want to go too cheap on it and mess something up. So, you know, we got the Speed Factory rods, the extended rods, and the Vitar pistons. Keep that kind of on the budget side. I've got the King XP black bearings for it, main bearings and rod bearings. So they was about $95 on eBay for those bearings. I think Napa, when they done my block here, I think Napa wanted about 150, 160 for the bearings. So, I mean, we're trying to keep it budget, but trying to keep it good, all at the same time. This is the first time seeing this block. I haven't, the only thing I've done was cut the end off of it and put it on the stand. By the way, welcome to my messy basement. I was not gonna do this in the basement, but it's been cold and it's been wet. So I'm kind of stuck doing it down here. I would really rather do it on the tailgate of the truck out in the sunshine with the Del Sol in the background. But yeah, that's how it works. And I know you're not supposed to loosen stuff with a torque ratchet, but the machine shop didn't tighten it very much, so I should be alright cracking these loose. We're going to try to do these videos section by section, so if somebody's got something they want to see, they don't have to go back and scan through the whole video just to find what they're looking for. Now, I would assume if you're building an engine, you know what you're doing, probably know more than I do. You've been all the way to this part right here where I'm starting at. You've had your block checked and done, or you're just slapping pistons in it and going yourself. This is going to be raw video footage, no editing, just straight film it, throw it on YouTube. If I mash my finger, you're going to hear some words. You'll probably know exactly what I say. So there's no editing done to this. I could be all fancy with it and edit it and put music in it, but why do that? I can do it the easy way. You see step by step. If I do have to go get something, I'll stop the video just so I'm not wasting a bunch of time, and I might piece it together that way. But other than that, no editing. My God, I forgot how long these bolts were. I would fire up the air compressor here and make this a little faster, but it'd probably be just a little bit too loud. That's a little tighter than I thought it was. Let me grab. No, this is not steel. This is brass. So I shouldn't be hurting anything. Oh yeah, machine shop done a good job. I did forget my rags, but all I'm doing is making sure there ain't no dust in here. Probably dusty. So whoever bent the rod has put a ding in both sides here. It looks like where the rod was slapping the edge of the, where you would normally notch a block if you've got too big of rods or something like that. If you're doing some block notching, it put some dings in it there, but it's not hurting anything. It will be all good. And we've got these new bearings. Now I know everybody will probably jump all over me. I'm supposed to plastic gauge this and check this and that. I know I'm supposed to do that. But I was not being very smart, and I did not order a plastic gauge kit, or I did not pick one up. And everything I've ordered, even this crankshaft, is, I was going to polish it, but you know, I don't think I can get it any better than it is, because it's super polished. It's you've probably seen them on eBay if you've looked for crankshaft. It's the what is that? Nippon Racing crank. They're remanufactured, but it's remanufactured back to a factory standard spec. So it is good to go. Let me make sure I got the right bearings here. I think I'm jumping ahead of myself. Pay very close attention to your bearings. The last thing you want to do is put in your bearing with your oil holes in a spot that don't have no oil holes, and then guess what? You ain't got no oil going to your crankshaft. So you make sure these are identical. Yes, they are identical. I thought maybe I was messing up there for a minute. Just in case. There's no telling. Some engines, some manufacturers, you don't know what they're doing. That's a, if you can see it, that's a really nice bearing. That's them King XPs. Supposed to be a lot better, more accurate, more precise, better, I guess, longevity. They're stronger, and I really would like this engine to last a while, preferably a long while. I'm shooting for reliability and power all at the same time, not too much. I mean, I guess you could say too much, because I'd love nothing more than to see about 500 horsepower out of this. And it is definitely possible. People do it all the time. We've already got a larger throttle body on the way for it and whatnot. And I'm going to pull these bolts out so I don't lose them. Okay. Just so you don't get some stuff mixed up, the 2 center bolts right here in the middle. They are longer, just a little bit. This looks pretty good. You can tell there's been a bearing in there. See, now this is what I was talking about. You got your oiling holes here. If you can see them real good on every one of these bearings got a slot in the middle of them. And luckily, both sides have the same exact slot. So you just got to make sure they are all put on right. And they'll only go in on that one way, but on this, looks like you could put them in opposite directions. So don't mess that up because that slot is offset. So you got to make sure you've got your oil slot over that and not over here on this side. So I'm just going to lay this crossways here so I don't hurt nothing. Now, if you can see it there, I've got the oil hole slot, which my lighting ain't the best in here, lined up with the holes. And you know, people have been arguing online over your crankshafts, which one's better to use. Some people are saying don't use the Z6 crankshaft, that there ain't no need in it, having the extra oiling holes. Well, I'll tell you, you can't go wrong with everything being oiled well. You can't. I would suggest find you a Z6 crankshaft. If you're building a D series like this, find you a Z6 crankshaft that's got the oil holes drilled all the way through instead of just halfway. And if you're rebuilding one, you'll know what I'm talking about. You've probably already looked at your crankshaft and done your research. Find you one that's the Z6 crank that's drilled all the way through. I'll show it to you here in a minute exactly what I'm talking about. You'll know when you see it. I guess I better lay this down and get this assembly lube out. I'm gonna have to put some lube on some stuff. Man, wouldn't you know it? I guess it'll seal either way. Let's find out. Please, for the love of God, do not put an engine together without putting lube on it. You must, you must, you must. I was reading a little horror story of one the other day where somebody got an engine off of somebody that was freshly rebuilt and it did not have any lube in it. Luckily, it wasn't finished and put in a vehicle yet, but needless to say, they were advised to take it all back apart and check everything because they could not turn the engine over by hand, or they couldn't turn the crankshaft by hand, which you should be able to. Put plenty on there. Make sure you got enough. If you got a big old tube like this, it is not going to hurt one bit. Make sure everything's lubed good. Smear it around. As she said, you can't go wrong with too much lube. I'm sorry. This should be parental advisory. You're liable to hear any kind of language, especially if I mash my finger or something. There is absolutely no telling. But I know, guys, you're probably screaming at me right now. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be plastic gauging it. Well, I took my calipers and I measured the crankshaft. The crankshaft is factory size. I made sure that it was right, that I was ordering the right standard size bearings. So this should be good as long as my crankshaft turns when I get it in here. I think I'll be happy with it. And for YouTube's sake, I'm going to try to watch the language. Sometimes it's hard. I don't know who is out here hollering. Alright, bigger hole. I go on that side. Okay. I know what goes to what. Now I can show you the crankshaft that I was talking about. This thing already looks super polished. I should not have to do anything to this. I tried. I got some 6,000 grit sandpaper that is made like a cloth, and I rubbed it for a few minutes on each one, and it did not do nothing. It is already super shiny. Now these are your holes that I was talking about. Every one of these, and I don't know if I can line it up good enough, all your oil journals on your main bearings and your rod bearings, they go all the way through. I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to move it around. I'll try to see through it with my eye. You can see all the way through it. On the other crankshaft, they're only drilled in one side to the center, not all the way through. This way you're getting oil on both sides of the bearing at all times. What could go wrong having too much oil in? I don't know, but oh God, I'm gonna try not to drop this. I got to put almost forgot. Almost forgot. Two. How many was I supposed to get? I thought the last one I done had 4. And I don't remember how many come out of it when I tore it apart. I thought it had 2 bearings on each side to make a hole. I could be mistaken. This is different than the Toyota that I built last. It was 1.3 liter from a Toyota Starlet in Japan. It was probably running about 350 horsepower on that 1.3 liter. That thing would scream. It'd break the tires loose in 3rd gear. Thrust. See what I can find here, because I could have swore, which I might be wrong, you know. I about guarantee I'm wrong, because looking at this goes that way. Thrust bearings are on this side, so the thrust bearings are just, yeah, thrust bearings are just right there. This ain't cut out for them. All right. Learn something new every day. What I can't remember for the life of me, it's been so long, is I can't remember which way these go. They've got slots cut in them, and I'd almost bet money that the slots go to the crankshaft and not to the block. that you would want the slots facing out for the crankshaft for oiling. But I could be mistaken. It's always good to do your research, and I did not do my research ahead of time. Oh boy. See, now I'm wasting time. Now I'm wasting everybody's time. Crap. Yeah, that's what it is. Judging by that picture, they have got their engine lube on the flat side of the thrust bearing, applying it so it'll stick to the block and not fall out. Now these even say STD on them, standard size, just like the crankshaft is standard size. You don't need a whole lot on here, just a little thin bead. I'm sorry if I'm boring you guys, but remember I told you there was no video editing. This is going to be boring, but you might learn something all at the same time. And I might learn something from some of you guys telling me things that I might be messing up or that I should do better. And what I could see online about the torque sequence on these, I could not find an actual sequence itself, but I see now my thrust bearings moving around. All I could find was your foot-pounds, what to torque your bolts to. I couldn't find no actual sequence itself, so I guess we are winging it. I'm going to try to do it almost like a head, back and forth, back and forth. That's about the only other thing I know to do to hopefully get it right. Make sure I got some, oh God, make sure I got some in here. Lubing these thrust bearings because there wasn't really a way to put it on it. Oh, that slides so smooth. Oh, crap. Now my bearing's walking out. Nice. Bearing sticking to the crank, it must have some grease in it. Okay, now that I've made a mess, which it'll be alright because it's only going to get worse. Don't tell my wife. Don't tell my wife that I'm wiping this on my pants. Because she will be mad. Son, will she be mad. Alright. Anyways. I've already got grease on them. Got grease on these. This should be good. To ease down on here. Now remember, your two long bolts are in the middle. Don't forget that. Put these back in pretty much in the order that they come out of. And these are here. What I seen online said 38 foot-pounds. 18 foot-pounds and then 38 foot-pounds for a solid bearing cap. What it said, but individual separated. It said separated caps. Separated caps got 47. And one solid cap got 38. I don't have a book. I should have a book, but I don't have a book. I just been cheap and ain't bought one yet. I've been too busy buying parts. I've still got parts in the mail right now. I got a 70mm throttle body. Supposed to be like a Skunk 2 70mm, but it's not. It's a knockoff, but it's a Skunk 2 knockoff. Go figure. Budget build, right? Hashtag budget build. But I didn't want to have to notch the block. Plus, I didn't want the shorter standard size rods. I wanted the extended rods that go with the Vitara pistons, making your compression where it ain't too low, down in the 7s. I think it'll still be around like 8.5 compression. So, made it easier that way, getting the extended rods that are a no-notch rod by Speed Factory. So it helps me out in more than one way. Man, do I not have... Okay, you buy new tools and you almost got to work on them already. I had some extensions. Make it a whole lot easier. I'm just running these down. I ain't tightening them yet. So, get kind of hard on the fingers. I guess I'm going to do the 18 foot-pounds. Actually, one of them said 18 foot-pounds, and then 38 or something like that, and then 38 again, or I don't know, it might have been 47. It might have been for the other one. But I just bought this yesterday because I can't find my 1/2-inch drive torque ratchet, and I don't know where it's at, and I need a 3/8 anyways, so I went ahead and bought a 3/8. What did I say, 18? All right, let's see if that's 20. What is that? 15, 16, 17. No. All right, 15, 16, 17, 18. This is labeled 1 through 4, 0 through 4. So it's kind of strange. So I got it 15 and then turned up to the 3 to make 18. So I'll start with this. We're going to stagger them about like a head, because I could not find any pattern anywhere online showing what to do these in. It's 18. I think it was over here. It's the closest one I seen. 3. I think 4 was this one, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. There was a click. 7. 8. I thought it it jumped after this. Well, if it don't, it does now. And it ain't gonna be perfect, but as long as all the torque comes out the same and you're not starting on one end and working your way out, you don't want to do that. Start in the middle, work your way out. Every time, start in the middle, work your way out. Let me check this again. See, that'll tighten more on 18 foot-pounds since I got the rest of them down. I'm just going to do 2 runs at 18 foot-pounds. Okay, good. 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 All right. 38 foot-pounds. 25, 30, 35, 36, 37, 38. 38 foot-pounds. That was not a click. 2, which I probably started the other way. I can switch up, it ain't gonna hurt. 3, 4, as long as you're moving out from the inside. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10th. Alright, now I'm going to double check these because one or the other said to do it twice. So I'm going to make sure that it is all good. Okay. Now I might, since it's a boost build and I'm shooting for a little bit higher horsepower and I've got good bearings, I might go ahead and up this just a little bit. But I might wait before I do it, do a little more research before the next video and before I go to install something else. Now this should spin. It's kind of hard to do with your hand in the hole, but look, spins good. So my crank is not binding on anything. Everything is good. If I can get a hold of it, I can't get my fingers in these holes. There we go. Fingers in the holes. All right. Crank spins. All is lubed. All is lubed. Even me. I'll just wipe that right there. It's going to be needed anyways. Might as well wipe some of this off. Wipe it on the next one. I'm just making a mess. I'll just go ahead and wipe it right here where the rod bearings are going to go. Got to have the lube. Like I said, too much don't hurt, but you make a mess with it. But at least it's lubed. At least you're not lacking nothing. Don't tell the wife, again, that I'm wiping this on my pants. I just go ahead and wipe everything in the lube. Maybe it'll keep it from rusting a little bit. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But I believe that's it for this section. Got king bearings are put in. That nice polished Nippon Racing crank is put in. Standard size bearings. If you happen to need a part number, I've messaged several places. These are for this engine. It's got, I don't know how hard it'll be to see. It's got PMAX black Honda D series. D series and F23A, F23Z, and something else here. I guess that's the authenticity sparkly. There's your part number. MB5568XP. That's for the main bearings. Get a good look at that. In case you want to do the same thing here. Turn it here and get some light on it. Maybe you can see it good. Thrust washers for Honda B18A, and I got a /21A/D16. It's a D16. Part number TW140AM, in case you need that. Now I know I ain't got to it yet. I've got to do my piston rings. We'll do this too. We'll gap the rings and everything. But since I got the bearings here, we'll go ahead and look at these. This is the rod bearings. Honda B20, B4, B20. Looks like Z2. And then D16 series. It's PMAX black. CR4046XP. You can see it. Write it down in case you need it. Look on eBay. Do your adding up, whichever way you can get them cheaper. A whole kit seemed to be a little bit cheaper for me than buying them all separate, but you can get them all separate if you need to. If you ain't taking your crank out and all you're doing is pulling your rods and pistons, slapping in stronger rods and Vitara pistons, leaving your crank alone, buy them separate. Buy your crank or your rod bearings, and make sure you got a big old tube of this stuff. Engine assembly lube, that wasn't much. I want to think it was somewhere around $10 or so on Amazon. Wasn't bad, but you gotta have it. And I believe that's it for this round. I don't know how long this has took. Looking at the camera, 39 minutes. My God, I made that long. I am so sorry. But that's it. No editing. I'm going to go ahead and stop it here before we get to 40 minutes. But so far, so good. Yins, have a good one. Peace out. And I guess I'll see you on the next one.